Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mac. This is a bonus episode for Saturday afternoon. Let me just do the housekeeping and then we'll talk about Stephen Colbert in this bonus episode. All right, so if you go through the feed, Friday morning's regular episode recapped Shane Gillis and the ESPYs. I was a big fan of that podcast episode. It's gotten a little lost in the weeds with the Colbert bomb dropping. So that was Friday morning. Friday afternoon, kind of late, around 6 p.m. Eastern, I dropped a bonus episode about Colbert with all the initial reaction and analysis. This morning was a normal episode. Then tomorrow morning in the feed, you'll get a normal episode, and I will drop a third Colbert bonus episode at noon on Sunday. As I've thought about this, now stay with me. Don't overreact to the first thing that I'm about to say. Don't overreact. Let me finish the complete thought before you freak out. But I started thinking about this. Did Taylor Tomlinson accidentally kill off Late Night? Now stay with me. Don't freak out. I'm not blaming Taylor at all. But something Bill Carter pointed out. CBS had renewed the 12:30 show with Taylor Tomlinson. Then it got unrenewed when Taylor was like, you know what, I kind of want to tour and I can't do all this anymore. So when she decided not to continue, that's when they revisited 12:30. So I'm wondering, when they revisited 12:30, then did they start revisiting 11:30 and wonder, hey, could we live without any of this after all? Because as Carter points out, if you want to reject the conspiracy theory that this is related to the Trump lawsuit, if you just want to say this is pure financials, okay, maybe, perhaps, possibly. So what would have been the plan? We're going to renew 12:30 Taylor Tomlinson, and then if you're killing off the late show at 11:30, what were you going to do? Show Big Bang Theory reruns until 12:30 and then run after midnight? Or was Taylor Tomlinson before midnight going to get 11:30? Like, what would have been the plan there in a scenario where you can't afford the Late Show franchise as CBS is spinning it? So I'm wondering here. So that makes no sense. So I'm wondering if Taylor walking away made the executives go, do we really need any of this? I don't know. And again, please, I'm not blaming Taylor Tomlinson. Okay, can I make that clear? I'm just wondering if this is a butterfly effect. Late Nighter wrote, before Stephen Colbert began taping Thursday's episode of The Late Show, he took time out for his usual audience Q&A. One fan asked Colbert how he deals with carrying the weight of the show on his shoulders. Colbert deflected the question and said he pointed out that he shares the workload with 200 of his best friends, acknowledging the staff and crew. The audience was not aware at the time how poignant those words from Colbert were on that particular night. It wasn't until the end of the taping that Colbert did the reveal. Claire DeSantis was at the taping and said they announced, we're going to tape an alternate cold open. Fans were expecting another piece of comedy, right? So the whole show was in the can. Colbert had done a monologue, talked with guest Adam Schiff, interviewed Anthony Carrigan, and then they taped this alternate cold open, which is the one we saw. Late Nighter writes, up until that point, the biggest drama to emerge during the taping was the fact that musician Noah Cyrus didn't appear despite being in the opening credits and Colbert touting her as a guest. Late Nighter says Cyrus had pre-taped her appearance, a regular practice for The Late Show. Colbert did several retakes of the cold open, stumbling as he performed a turn toward the camera for a cheesy faux surprise, oh hey everybody. After those false starts, writes Late Nighter, Colbert finally delivered the full cold open. Colbert recorded it only once. The audience member said it was a complete shock to everybody. Even not as a regular watcher, I was getting emotional because it was so sad. You could tell that this is probably a huge shock for everybody. After that segment, Colbert got up and walked to his wife, Evie. Colbert hugged and kissed Evie, who was seen wiping away tears, and the audience left. I'm wondering what's going to happen to the Ed Sullivan Theater. I mean, it's a pretty nice theater. It's on pretty nice real estate. I wonder what's going to happen there. All right, let's look at the numbers. LateNighter.com says Colbert had been winning the time slot with 2.417 million listeners across 41 first-run episodes, and that The Late Show was the only program to increase in the first quarter, with the show up 1% in the 18 to 49 demo. Okay, guys, so like, again, if you heard the end of Friday's bonus episode, I'm Team Colbert, and I really like Late Night, even though I don't actually watch it, so, you know, I'm part of the problem. In the 18 to 49 demo, Late Nighter says, Colbert had 219,000 viewers. So I'm assuming people under 17 aren't watching it. So of the 2.4 million and change, 2.2 or 50 plus, they're old people like me. And as cool and hip as I am, that's not where the business is. Kimmel, second place, 1.772 million. However, beat Colbert in the demo with a whopping 220,000 viewers. Again, old people watching this. The youths are not watching this stuff. The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, third place, which is just crazy to think about. 1.188 million. And even in the demo, you think maybe Jimmy plays a little younger. Jimmy, 157,000 people between 18 and 49. I mean, that's not... I'm laughing because I work in podcasting. It's not that many people. It's not that many more than stupid Johnny Mac in his basement is reaching, honestly. Greg Gutfeld averages 3.289 million viewers and 238,000 in the Cool People demo. Late Nighter says Gutfeld was up 31.5% among total viewers and 24% in the demo. Other numbers. Seth Meyers. Yeah, he has a show at 12:30. 900,000 total viewers, 111,000 in the demo. Nightline. That's right. Nightline's on ABC somehow. Totally forgot that existed. 810,000 viewers, 108 in the demo. And Taylor Tomlinson's show was getting 591,000 viewers and 89,000 in the demo. The Daily Show averaged 994,000 viewers and 190,000 in the demo. Variety says NBC continues to capture the majority of late-night ad dollars. Third place Fallon, luring 33% or $79 million. Seth Meyers, 11% or $26.2 million, according to guidelines. So the NBC sales department getting it done. Jimmy Fallon being advertiser-friendly. Smart business. Late Show was 70.2 million, more than Kimmel, less than Fallon. Variety writes, there's a feeling that some of Colbert's commentary makes Late Show something some advertisers prefer to avoid. So what could the future look like? Well, Jimmy Kimmel signed a new deal in 2022, is constantly threatening to walk away. He's contracted through the end of the 25-26 broadcast season, so that would be May of 26, same as Colbert. Now, Jimmy and his agent, they have what we call hand, because if there is no Late Show on CBS, Kimmel would then have the number one show. And the CBS audience, big or small as it is, they're going to go somewhere. So I think Kimmel's in a good place, and that show will continue, would be my guess. Deadline understands that ABC has no plans to cancel the show, and Rob Mills, who oversees Late Night, has said ABC will back Jimmy Kimmel until he decides to clear out his desk. Both Jimmy Kimmel and Seth Meyers are signed through 2028. On his podcast this week, Jon Stewart said, I believe the timing of this was after Colbert made his commentary on Monday, but before the news of the Late Show ending. Jon Stewart had said, unfortunately, we haven't heard anything from them. I believe that's a reference to Skydance, the new owners. They haven't called me and said, don't get too comfortable in that office, Stewart. But let me tell you something. I've been kicked out of crappier establishments than that. We'll land on our feet. Stewart said he honestly doesn't know if Skydance would kill The Daily Show, which has been on the air since 1996. He said, I'd like to believe without The Daily Show, I don't know. Comedy Central is kind of like Muzak at this point. I think we're the only sort of life that exists on a current basis other than South Park. It's the only thing on there. I'd like to think we bring enough value to the property. If they're looking at it purely as a real estate transaction, I think we bring a lot of value, but that may not be their consideration. They may sell the whole effing place for parts. I don't know. We'll deal with it when we do. Jon Stewart said good things about the staff, including the showrunner and Jordan Klepper, Desi Leidick, Ronnie Chang, Michael Costa. He said, I'm so happy and proud of everybody that works over there. They want to do that and knock themselves out. As Jay Leno would say about Doritos, go ahead, crunch all you want. We'll make more. We'll figure that out when the time comes. That is your bonus episode. Again, a Sunday morning, normal episode, where I won't talk about Colbert at all because I had already recorded that. Tomorrow at noon Eastern time, I will drop another bonus episode about Colbert because I've got a lot more about this. All right, enjoy your Saturday.